Hi, this is Kim and welcome to my YouTube channel. Bonjour, comment ça va to all our French-speaking friends, and shout out to all our friends here in Canada, in the Philippines, the Middle East, and all across the world. So today we're going to talk about the different ways on how to migrate here in Canada and share my personal experiences as well on how I managed to apply for a permanent residency status. So before we begin, allow me to give you a quick background. So Canada is currently one of the leading countries in terms of immigration policies, alongside with countries such as Australia, the New Zealand, UK, the US, and several EU countries. And the reason why Canada is pursuing a strong immigration policy is because of two primary reasons. Number one is, of course, economic, as Canada is trying and hoping to attract more skilled workers in order for her to maintain her economic growth and also to combat the adverse effect of a rapidly aging population. And of course, political, as Canada aims to strengthen her ability to assert her interest in the international stage. So with that established, let's proceed with the discussion. So there are basically three general types of visas being offered by the Canadian government. So the first one is what we call the refugees and asylum seekers visa. We also have the temporary visas and of course the permanent residency visas, on which we will zero in our discussions as the title of the video suggests. So first and foremost, temporary visas are generally ranging from visit visas, which are granted to people who wants to visit Canada as a tourist, and we also have what we call the super visa, or a tourist visa that allows you to enter Canada for a period of 10 years. And of course, we also have diplomatic visas, which are granted to government officials of foreign countries who have diplomatic missions here in Canada. And we also have what we call temporary working visas, which can be categorized in two broad categories. The first one is the job specific visa, which is granted to people who can work here in Canada, but they can only work with a specific employer and they're not allowed to transfer to another company or to take part-time jobs. And of course, the open work permit, which allows you to work here on a temporary basis and gives you the privilege to transfer to another employer or also take part-time jobs. So these are normally granted to people who are working as a caregiver. So this is Canada's way of attracting more and more caregivers. And we also have the student visas, which are granted to people who are interested to study here and gain a Canadian diploma, and etc., etc. There's still a lot of different types of temporary visas. So if you want to see the full list, you may visit the website of IRCC, or the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, for more information. While on the other hand, a permanent residency visa grant holders the right to live, study, and work here in Canada permanently, and is also the prerequisite to obtain a Canadian citizenship. So these are primarily the ones who are considered immigrants as far as the Canadian government is concerned. So let's begin with the easiest way to enter Canada on a permanent status. So there are actually two easiest way possible. So the first one is a spousal sponsorship program. So if you happen to have a partner, a husband, a wife, or a boyfriend or girlfriend who is living here in Canada on a permanent residency or Canadian citizenship status, then they have the privilege to apply you for a spousal sponsorship. So this is very easy as long as you can prove that you are indeed partners. Then the Canadian government would definitely support you to come here to Canada on a permanent residency basis. And of course, this program is not just limited to married couples. This is also open to what we call common law partners. So these are couples that are not married but living together, possibly have children also. So you can apply for this as well. And the second one, of course, the family sponsorship. So those people who have family back in their country of origin can petition them to come here through family sponsorship. So a lot of Filipino children were able to come here under this program. So you guys are very lucky. You have to thank your parents for that, and take advantage of the fact that you were able to come here hassle free. As long as you are below the age of 21, then your parents can definitely apply you under this program. And of course, there are also people who don't have relatives like me, so you can actually go through what we call the express entry system. So this is a lottery system open to those who are eligible to apply. So if you have an outstanding educational background, you have a solid work experience, and you are financially capable, then you are encouraged by the Canadian government to apply for this. And this is the exact path that I took in order to enter to Canada as a permanent resident. So without further ado, let's delve into the details. So I was in Saudi Arabia back in 2015 when I started to process my papers. And since I don't have an idea on how to set up an application, I decided to seek the services of an immigration consultant to assist me. And they were the ones who helped me process my documents. So shout out to Tito Angelo and Tito Vincent. They were my immigration consultants, and they assisted me and they helped me a lot in the processing of my documents. So if you are interested to hire their services, you may send me a private message and I will be very glad to refer you to them. So let's go to the requirements. So there are basically 12 requirements that I was able to list down here. So the first one is what we call the IELTS, or International English Language Testing System, which gauges your ability and proficiency in the English language. So if you are aiming for immigration, you only need to take the general test. No need to take the academic test, as it is intended for student visa purposes. Okay. Next one is the WES, or the World Education Services. This gauges your educational background. So this would test whether your education is at par with what is here in Canada. Third would be the birth certificate. Fourth would be the diploma and transcript of record. Next would be the police clearance, medical certificate, travel and residency record, of course, passport. You also need the employment certificates and a bank statement amounting to at least half a million pesos, or 13,000 Canadian dollars. ID pictures as prescribed by the IRCC, and of course, the funds for visa stamping, plane ticket, landing fees and taxes, and of course, consultancy fees should you decide to hire one. So I took the IELTS as the first step back in early June 2016 in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, and the exam costed me around 900 riyals, or roughly 10,000 pesos. And then the results were then released 2 weeks later. Keep in mind that you need to get the highest, or aim for the highest possible score, as it will bring up your overall express entry scores, thereby increasing your chance to get a slot. Then after that, I started processing my West documents with the help of my consultants, of course, and they created a profile for me and forwarded me a West reference number, which was then submitted to my schools. So it was sent to Nazareth Christian School, my secondary school. Shout out to all the NCSA friends. And of course, to my tertiary school, which is the University of Santo Tomas. Go, stay. Go, 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 go. And after that, they sent the credentials back to Canada for assessment. And after that, it took around 3 months for it to be processed. So the request for school credentials and the shipping fee for both schools and the West application fee costed me around roughly 25,000 pesos. So when the assessment got completed, I got a rating of a equivalent of a 4-year diploma. So my education is as good as a regular 4-year diploma here in Canada. So then after that, I started processing my police clearance. And in my case, since I was in Saudi Arabia back then, I needed both NBI and the Saudi police clearance. So, in order to process that, I went to the Philippine consulate in Khobar to request for a certification that was then submitted to the Saudi Foreign Ministry and then have it stamped in order for it to be submitted to the police station for the request of police clearance. And it took around 2 weeks for it to be done. And after that, I traveled to Riyadh, which is a 5 hour train travel from Khobar, in order to file an application for NBI in the Philippine embassy. As you know, they are far more efficient, more expedient, and more professional in comparison to the rather hellish Philippine consulate in Khobar. So overall, the application costed me around 500 reals, or roughly around 8,000 pesos. So after that, my travel and residency history was prepared, which covers 10 years prior to the year I am requesting it. So take note that when doing this, there should be no gap on the dates. In my case, all of my travels in and out of the Philippines were recorded, as well as the addresses of where I lived in the past 10 years, both in the Philippines and in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, keep in mind that the international travel dates should match what is shown in your passport. It is very important. So you have to double check if your dates are correct. And then, so as soon as the initial requirements or the initial required documents were completed, my immigration consultants immediately set up my profile in the express entry system for review and approval, and it took around 3 months for the review process to be done. And so when the documents were reviewed and accepted, they then enrolled me to the pool of applicants for raffle. So this is a stage where your express entry scores will compete with other applicants. As you know, there are a lot of people who are aspiring to come here to Canada, so you have to compete against them. The higher your score, the better your chances. And after 2 unsuccessful raffle attempts, I finally got in. So as soon as it was accepted, IRCC then released the ITA, or what we call the invitation to apply. So this is just a formality sakes. So it's as if it's as good as Canada telling you that yes, you are accepted and we are going to grant you the permanent residency status. And after that, IRCC gave me a list of accredited hospitals for my medical certificate. Of course, you cannot just simply barge into whatever clinic or hospital. It has to be an accredited hospitals. So the medical exam costed me 1,200 reals, or roughly 12,000 pesos. So after submitting that, I then waited for another 1 month to get the formal instruction for visa stamping, of which I was instructed to send my passport to Abu Dhabi for stamping. Okay, and it took another 3 weeks for my visa to be sent back to Saudi Arabia, and it costed me around 250 reals for the shipping, or roughly 4,000 pesos. Okay, once my visa has been stamped, I then proceeded to purchase a ticket to Canada, which is roughly 40,000 pesos, and prepare to settle the government fees, taxes, and of course, pocket money. I entered Canada at exactly 7:30 in the morning on the 9th of December 2017 with only $2,000 pocket money. Overall, I had to raise 1,000,000 pesos just to get a permanent residency visa, and that includes the show money, the pocket money, documentation fees, professional fees of my consultants, plane ticket, and everything else, the miscellaneous fees. And it took me roughly 6 months to gather all of the documents required, and another 6 months to process and get approved. So there you go. So if you are eligible and possess outstanding school credentials, you have a solid work experience, and you are financially capable, then I highly encourage you to give it a shot and settle here in Canada for good. And you will definitely, for sure, love Canada. So I hope this video helped you a lot, and please do hit the thumbs up button if you did, and please share it to your friends who might also be interested to apply for permanency here in Canada. And of course, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day ahead. Au revoir.